going into a staff room and hearing teachers talk about children in the way that they talk about them is quite frankly disgusting. And then when it came to her report and I was reading that she distracted others and she was distracted and she needs to focus, I was like, what? Yeah. Hang on a second, where was that communication with me?
With anyone that works any sort of job, you're burnt out from the day. You then come home and parent your children. Yep. You're not giving them what they need. We don't want to. We've got no patience. I don't want to sit on the floor and do a puzzle with my kids. I've got loads of washing to do. Welcome back to We're Not Your Typical. Today, I'm on my own. But I had the lovely Alice with me today from Kind Mind Life Coaching. She and I are both life coaches. We share different strategies, what works for us, and we really hope it helps lots of parents that listen to this today. Please remember to always like, save, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hello, Alice.
Hello.
So it's just me today from We're Not Your Typical. Poor Jade has got the lurgy-lurg.
Yeah.
We told her to stay away from the studio.
Absolutely.
Far too close to Christmas and the New Year. So you've got me. But anyone that's listening, Alice is a life coach. I'm sure from anyone else who listens to all the other episodes, I am one too. Not so active like you. So I'm actually so excited for this episode because I feel that so many parents listen and want to know more about a life coach because a lot of children get offered to see someone in school, whether it's booked by the parent or booked through the school. And it's a bit unknown because you don't get too much feedback.
No.
And I think it's important for parents to know kind of what goes on in a session.
Yeah.
So fire away.
Yeah.
Tell us about you. Give us your story and how you got to where you are today.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I am a life coach for kids. I used to be a primary school teacher for about 13 years. And then when I went off to have my second child, Daisy, I just knew I wanted to change my career. My head teacher actually told me I didn't have a job to go back to because I was too expensive. So that's fine. She pushed me out.
Fun.
But whatever. I'm grateful for it.
You're expensive. You're worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I trained to be a life coach primarily for children. I did the teacher to coach accreditation where I'm NLP trained, loads of different therapies that are part of it. And I set up Kind Minds Life Coaching for kids because I just want children and families to have a space where they can get to understand the mind and the body connection, to live the life that they want to live. Neurotypical, neurodiverse, it doesn't matter. Everyone's brain is different.
Yeah.
Everyone is different. So that's the work that I do. I go into schools, I go into people's houses, I meet them at Starbucks, coffee shops, wherever that they feel comfortable, outside in a park. And we get to learn about our brain and our body connection. Yeah.
I think that's so important because, first of all, I think everyone has said this. You just want to sit in front of someone that will not judge you, that you can let everything out without any judgment.
Yeah.
And I know they're children, but obviously do you see teens as well?
Yeah.
Up to what, secondary school?
I see adults now as well.
Okay, so you've got a mix of everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just think it's really important that people know that there's people out there like you that they can just let out their steam and they're not judged. And I think we can both safe to say that we've heard it all.
Yeah.
And there's no judgment and there's no shock. No.
Yeah. And it is really, you've knocked the nail on the head. Like it is just a space. And that's sometimes when I started this business, I was like, I need to be professional. I need to make sure that I'm doing everything exactly right. But the main thing is the connection with the client. And that's what I feel I didn't have when I was at school.
Yeah.
I had an okay childhood of being in school. My family are incredible. I had support. They were amazing, loved, nurtured me. However, when I was at school, I just didn't have that teacher who connected with me. I didn't have that teacher who could notice things that were going on with me. And that's why I became a teacher, is because I didn't have the teacher who inspired me, and then left education because I felt like I couldn't inspire and nurture the children who may be struggling to get into class, may be struggling with English, maths, whatever it is. My main focus was to connect with that child. Right, what's going on? But because as a teacher, you've got at one point I had 36 kids in my class.
That's nuts.
It's nuts. Year 5 class, crazy. Loads of pressure on them. And I wasn't allowed to have that time to just stop the curriculum and find out what was going on. So that's why I started Kind Minds, is because I want to be that person to be like, right, what's going on, little Billy? What's going on? What happened this morning? Have you had breakfast? Right, you haven't. Let's go grab a brioche. Let's go sit down and let's go and learn about what's going on. And let's name those feelings and let's deal with them.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like going back to school for me, I had a really challenging time in secondary school to the point I had to leave.
Right.
And there was absolutely nothing for me. There was no support whatsoever. And I think that was a reason why I got into this as well. I feel like you have to have your own life experiences to be a life coach.
Yeah.
If you've had a perfect, prim and proper upbringing, and please God, most people have that, you can't connect or relate to other people that are suffering. So I think that you have to have your own life experiences to really fully understand. And obviously you've had that from being a teacher and not being able to really dive inside someone who is struggling. So that's really interesting.
And I think like what you say there's so important about life coaches of not every life coach has had a horrible upbringing. Lots of life coaches who are incredible have had trauma or awful things happen that they've learned from and grown from. But I didn't have an awful upbringing. I just had moments where I knew they weren't right. And I knew that the adults who were meant to be looking after me and teaching me not just science, English, maths, drama, whatever it was in secondary school, what a job of a teacher is to connect with those children and to really know, what is it, Alice, that you're really good at? Sophie, what is it that you love? So let's find out what you love and let's do something with that and champion you. But sadly, teachers are just so burnt out and don't have the right tools, resources, time to have those connections. And it really annoys me.
Is it ever going to change?
I bloody hope so. I don't know how it's going to change. I'm on a mission to make sure that I can coach teachers. That's another thing that I do is I go in and I coach teachers on the correct language to use with children.
Correct. Amazing.
So if they have children in their class who are dysregulated, it can be something so simple about changing the way they're talking or changing their tone or changing where that child sits on the carpet, giving them a sensory toy. Like to me is really simple. And to me, it's always been, right, this is what's going on for this child. I'm going to give them something because I can see they're maybe struggling. So for me, it's really simple. But for other teachers, there's loads of incredible teachers that it doesn't come easy to them.
Well, it doesn't when they've got a million other jobs to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what's really challenging about schooling, that schooling isn't for everybody, as we know. And the teacher, they can't give those children that need the extra time any extra effort because they've got so much going on. So we're very important people.
We are very important
people.
Are. We are indeed.
And I think, speaking on our behalf, you know, for example, I'm even looking currently, I'm gonna be open. I'm gonna be open. Currently seeking a therapist myself at the moment.
Good for
I think
you.
it's time that I see someone.
Is this the first time you've seen a therapist?
So the guy that trained me to be an NLP coach, I can pick up the phone and see him whenever I want. But we're really good friends now. We kind of had our own little crew. Like you said, like we've had plans and things in place, and it got to a point where there's no judgment, but you're too close to me now. I need that person that doesn't know me at all. Like a burnt out mum, raising 7 kids, marriage, the lot. I think it's time that I put myself first. Well, my mum gave me that advice. She's also an NLP coach. She's like, forget all these big plans that you've got in your head. You need to put yourself first. You need to start from this. So anyway, I am seeking one. And I think it's really, really challenging to find a therapist that you can connect with, that you feel comfortable with. And it takes time to find. And I think that's what, again, I'm not trying to discriminate of our ages, but when we're working with children, I feel like we're on a similar age of who we are. I think that they may connect with us more than perhaps my mum who's late 60s, because we're in different generations. And I'm not saying she's amazing. She is amazing with children, but they may have a better connection with me and you rather than someone that's been doing it for a very, very, very long time, purely just to, we may be able to understand them more. We might go and get those drinks that everyone loves with the balls in them.
Horrible.
Right, they're gross, but like if we said let's go to a bubbyology and sit there and have one, they're going to be like, oh my god, buzzing. Let's become friends, and I'm gonna open up. Yeah,
it is. It's being relatable, isn't it? Connecting is. I use that word so often in everything that I share on social media. It's all about connection. In my job as a life coach for kids, it's about connection and being relatable. So that thing at the minute, 6'7".
What?
What is it?
No, seriously.
Yeah, but it was the WhatsApp, wasn't it, in our thing? So we've got to just be with it.
Yes, that's true.
So
oh my God,
ours
that's so
actually
true.
was worse.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Maybe we should bring that back. Maybe we should bring back the WhatsApp.
Let's work on that.
But the 6'7" thing is, I was doing an assembly a couple of Mondays ago. I've gone into partnership with one of these schools in my local area, and I said 6, 7. And all the kids were like, 6, 7. And we did it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The head teacher came to me at the end and was like, we've banned that saying from our school.
Gosh.
And I was like, why? She said, well, it just really distracts them. I said, did it distract them for the whole day? Or did it give them a little moment of Alice is a human and Alice is fun and Alice, like, yeah, it did.
We like Alice.
Yeah, we like Alice because I'm having fun and I'm putting music on. Like, let's not be so regimented. You've got to move with the times.
Yes.
And that's where I think teachers sometimes don't have the space, the time, or I don't know, maybe sometimes the want to change and be relatable. And that's why I want to go into as many schools as possible to be like, you do have the time because this is your job. Yes, all right, you need to learn how to, if you're a primary school teacher, learn how to teach every bloody subject in the curriculum.
Challenging.
It's very challenging. But you've got to move with the times, be relatable, and just connect with the cohort that is in your class at that time.
Yeah.
So what worked last year or last cohort is not going to work this next time. So get to know them. Find out what their favourite thing is.
Definitely.
Find out what they did at the weekend, but don't just give them 5 seconds. Like, and when they come in the morning, comment on something that they've done really cool, or just those little moments.
Absolutely, you're so right, because they're the moments that the kids are going to remember.
Yeah, and
not what happened in maths today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, you ask your kids, like if I ask Phoebe, my eldest, she's 6 and she's in year 2, like, how was your day today? Like, I never say to her, did you have a good day? Because it will be like, yep.
Yeah.
So I always say, how was your day?
Yeah.
And whether that's usually at pickup, it's not, I'm like chucking snacks in her face because she needs to eat. Because snacks are life, obviously. But at night time, I will say to her when I'm lying next to her, how was your day today? She'll be like, yeah, it's okay. Well, what was okay about it? Give me something that made you laugh. And she'll sit and think, like, well, so-and-so did this, and it was so funny, or so-and-so farted in assembly. I was like, that's so funny.
That's so funny.
And then you say, is there anything that made you feel a bit like, oh, that's a bit weird? So it's those little easy moments that is gaining connection with your child.
Yeah.
Like, teachers can do that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really good point to put across anyway for parents that are listening. Some people, especially like for us that are raising neurodivergent children, and that other side, luckily Callie is verbal and I can ask those questions now. And it's sometimes very difficult to get anything out. And then what happens to Callie, for example, is that she'll just have a meltdown. And in my head, it's okay, something's happened today and she's not able to tell me what. So she's just melting down. And it's trying to really work on your child to get those moments out at the right time and when is the right time. And I think that's a really good idea, actually, just before you're kind of getting them ready for bed, like lying in bed with them. That's when maybe they're a lot more calm. Ready for their sleep, to ask those sort of questions.
And also you're regulated as well.
That's true.
Like and I listened to so many podcasts, read so many books of we have to be regulated as parents.
So true.
We have to be ready to have those conversations, and because they mirror everything that we're doing. So if you're regulated and you're lying and having just a really lovely cozy moment, and knowing that you're going to have a conversation that you're not going to think about the outcome, but you're just trying to open up that space for your child to talk to you, then that's just so it's
so
such
true.
a wonderful little moment. How old is Callie?
Same.
Oh, okay.
What did you say?
She's 6.
What was her name again?
Phoebe.
Sorry, Phoebe. I thought it was, and I thought I can't say this wrong. Phoebe and Daisy.
Yeah.
Yes, they're both 6 and in year 2.
So is she in mainstream or?
Yes, she is, with a 1-to-1.
Cool.
And sometimes she comes out with things and you just never know what's true anyway. I actually had to have a meeting for Marley, who's just my son that's gone into preschool at the same school as Callie. And rather than having parents evening, I was so lucky that I actually got a 1-to-1 meeting with the Senko and the teacher. I had 25 minutes.
Oh my goodness, you're a big
like,
deal.
I know, you're telling me. So is my kid. And, you know, he will say things all the time when he gets home. He'll say, so-and-so upset me today. And then I'll say to them, so who's he friends with? And they'll mention this person. I said, that's really funny because he says they upset him. And they're like, no. They're like, stuck by the hip, they're really good friends. Or the teacher told me off today because I'm banging my head because he stims all day in the classroom. Yay me. And they're saying, no, we don't. We just say maybe you can go into the corner and so it won't hurt your head as much. And it's just funny how kids come out with things, and it could be the total like, he tells me every single Friday he has chicken nuggets.
Yep.
The school has 3 weeks, I don't know what the word is, turnover, each week for 3 weeks there's different meals for the week. So they were like, well, no, he has them like once a month. And I was like, okay, you just never know what comes out of these kids' mouths and what's real.
But children also say things because they think that's what you want to hear.
Yes.
So they'll say like, so-and-so hurt me. Like, they may be, for example, your son might have felt a certain way in that day, maybe he felt left out by a child, or maybe he barged past someone and he's telling you, oh, someone hurt me, because actually what he wants you to know is that at one moment in the day he wasn't very happy.
Yeah.
So they do, like, it's all about teaching them to communicate.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of work. I don't know if you know anything about Professor Stephen Peters. Do you know about him?
No, tell me.
So have you heard about the chimp paradox?
No.
Oh, you've got
Should
to.
I know?
Yeah, no, you shouldn't. Don't
Okay,
have to know.
good.
But it's so I use this model a lot in my coaching. So it's learning about 3 different parts of your brain. So you know the amygdala.
Yes.
The emotion, where you open up the lid and
Yep.
the emotions. So that's your chimp part of your brain.
Okay.
Your frontal part of your brain is your human brain, and the back part of your brain is your computer brain.
Okay.
So I teach children about these 3 parts of their brain.
Yeah.
And the chimp is responsible for being reactive and really emotional. And your human part is your smart part. It's your logical part. It knows that you need to do X, Y, Z to get to school. It knows you need to have a drink of water and your breakfast and put your socks on and, communicate.
Yeah.
And that's the smartest part. But your chimp is so much stronger than your human part.
Yeah.
So that's the bit that really flips its lid, basically. And then the computer stores all the information, the memories, the habits. So teaching children about that. And I've taught Phoebe from a very young age about, I started this job 2.5 years ago. So 2.5 years ago when I
she's
learned
still a
it.
baby.
Yeah. So when she was 4, I taught her about this. So when she's telling me something that maybe she wasn't happy about, or maybe she's not happy with me and she's doing something that's, I even had it this morning, her socks were really annoying her and she starts taking them off and throwing them around. I say a code word, and her life coach actually taught me this. And the code word is bananas.
Okay.
So you recognize that your chimp is getting in charge.
Okay.
So your amygdala has flipped its lid. Let's shut that down a little bit and be in charge. So then you can engage your human brain.
That's so clever.
So it's incredible. You get to know Professor
Love
Stephen
that. I'm
Peters.
going to.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about, obviously, because we're a podcast we're not your typical. So
Yes.
we usually have on the show anything to do with kind of
Yeah.
neurodivergent. And obviously, I'm sure most of the children that you see in school
Yeah.
possibly have a diagnosis or
Yeah.
not yet diagnosed. And I think what parents, including myself, would be really interested to hear from you is, yes, all these strategies are amazing with typical children,
Yep.
but how can we support children that are not diagnosed or diagnosed and they're wired differently? Again, I'm so putting you on the spot there. I'm not asking for exact strategies.
No, I'm glad you've asked it.
But tell us more about that. Maybe you can give us some examples.
Yeah, so I would say probably about 90% of my clients are neurodiverse, whether diagnosed or not.
Yeah.
So my main thing is when a parent gets in contact with me, I'm like, just let me know about your child. I don't need to know what their label is. Yeah, that might be helpful, but tell me their medical needs if I need to know anything in that sense. But just tell me about your child and let me get to know them. So, for example, I had a girl come to me. She started to work with me probably about 2 months, 3 months ago, and she had selective mutism. She's diagnosed autistic, ADHD, and sensory needs.
Yeah.
Beautiful girl, comes in and instantly starts masking. So I ask her how she is and she's like, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm okay. How was your day? Yeah, great. And then starts telling me stories about people at school. And I know from having a consultation with her parents, and this was the first meeting, she is selective mutism. So I really had to try to get that conversation going. And within a few moments, she started to just tell me stories about her friends, about her class, about her teacher. And I knew it wasn't true because she was just masking. So it takes me a while to connect with them.
Yeah.
And it's simple. I just say to her, you're enough, by the way. You're totally enough. And know that you don't have to be anything other than yourself in this space.
Yeah.
So that was probably about 4 sessions. And then the mum would say to me, whenever she comes home from your sessions, firstly, she's really light and comes out feeling really happy because she's had those moments with you.
She's offloaded.
Yeah. However, when we then get home, she just has these meltdowns and she has, I can't connect with her. And then when I talk to her about her chimp brain, the thing that I've just spoken to you about, she tells me to shut up and leave her alone.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's because she's dysregulated. And also she's learning to train herself and train her brain that this is all okay.
Yeah.
When she came to see me, she was 12, 13. So she's had all those times. She's in secondary school now. She's masked the whole way through primary school. So it's a muscle. We've got to train our brain and understand that we've got things that we need to work on.
Yeah.
So my advice to parents is, if your child is having, if you want to call them meltdowns, whatever, every child does, typical, neurodiverse, doesn't matter. But when they are having meltdowns, you've just got to sit with it. You've got to sit with it and just make sure everyone's safe.
Yes.
Make sure we're safe. Make sure that it's okay that we name what we're feeling, so that we can then tame it. You name it and then you can tame it and then you can change it.
Yeah.
So that's what I teach them, is I say, right, let's name the emotion. Where are we feeling that in our body? And this has to be in a state of calm.
Yeah.
Because imagine if someone came to you, Sophie, and was like, just tell me what you're feeling, and you can't explain it. You're like, go away, like, get away from me, or just whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So you've got to name it in a state of calm. What were you feeling? Where did you feel it? Is there anything that made you get like that? Then let's try and tame it. So next time, shall we try this breathing exercise, or shall we use these sensory toys? Shall we go punch a pillow? Shall we go and scream outside in the wind? Whatever it may be. And then what are we going to change for next time? So it's just practicing. Like if you go to the gym, you've got to go to the gym more and more to get stronger.
Sometimes I just think I can go to the gym once and then I'm a size 0.
Yeah.
Doesn't work like that, does it?
I'm afraid.
Same with therapy.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Or if you eat an apple, you think you're really healthy.
Yeah, really healthy.
Yeah.
I had a matcha this morning.
Oh.
I think I'm actually an influencer.
Yeah, you are. You should have put that all over socials. Forget this. I find when I speak with children, especially in school, I think personally, it's very challenging working with children, purely because you know as an adult that you need support, you need some therapy, so you'll reach out and you make it happen. Most children don't know why they're leaving their school classroom and they're saying, okay, little boy, go down the road and meet Sophie.
Yep.
Meet Alice.
Yep.
Well, who are they?
Yep.
Because normally there isn't any sort of introduction, and they sit down in a small environment that's very not nice, like a clinical room, really, white walls and a desk. And they're expected to just sit and answer questions. And I think it's so unfair on the children. I think it's amazing for the children that they're going to get the therapy and the things that they need, but they don't know why they're there. And I think that's really overwhelming for a lot of children. I think you can really much understand this. You can have some children that literally sit down day one and they let it all out.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh,
yeah.
Gosh, it's half an hour's gone already, blimey. And then you've got other children and you're like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
They don't want to talk. They don't want to be here. They can be quite physical. I don't know if you've ever been in that scenario where there has to be chaperones because they're, and that's where I think I've mentioned in a podcast before, I stopped working with children when I was going through the process with Callie having an autism diagnosis, because I wasn't ready to see her future in primary and secondary. I'm accepting it a lot more, but I still think I find it really challenging. And I feel like I have got so much I can work on because I work on Callie all the time. But it can be a really challenging job. If people think it's easy, it really isn't.
No.
Sometimes you can have I don't know about your schools, I usually have 6 sessions with my children. You can get to session 3 and I'm like, okay, I don't know what we're going to do today because it's been 3 sessions and she said 1 word.
Yeah.
It can be really, really tough.
Yeah.
And it's breaking that barrier with them.
Yeah. Well, my sessions aren't like that. So I don't have... So what I pride myself in is that the communication with the school, with me and the parents is so vital for the child's growth.
Amazing.
So when I go into a partnership with a school, I say to them, you're going to be investing in me. The school are paying for me out of their budget and their funding. Yeah. However, if you're going to be giving me, so I've got in one partnership, I do an assembly in the morning and then I see 8 children back to back for half an hour sessions. Yeah. They can choose those children, but I want you to give the parent my email. Yes. And they can email me and ask me or even call me for anything that they need. I've got my working hours, I've got my boundaries because I've just been mental if I was talking all the time. Yeah. But I want them to be able to ask me questions and I will feed back and debrief with them every time I work with their child. So what do you give them, a phone call after every session or an email? If you're my private one-to-one client and I'm not at the school, I've always have my camera on. So I video their session. Okay. And I say to the child, do you mind me videoing this? Let's say hello to mum and dad. And so I can send the video to the parents, like little snippets, so they can see what we've done. So that also the parent, amazing. So the parent can see the language that I'm using with them that works. Yeah. And if the child's happy for them to be filmed, they can also have an insight into how their child is talking to someone who's not them. Yeah. Because as we know, as parents, we're white noise. So you may be saying something to Callie, but then I could say the same thing, and Callie would be like, "Oh, that's so incredible. Yeah. Alice is so clever." And you'd be like, "What? Yeah. I've literally been doing this." Joking? Yeah. But when it comes from a neutral place and someone who's not your mum or your dad, it works, and it's frustrating.
Well, that's why
as parents,
I think it is really important if children need extra therapy intervention, because parents, as you said, they are white noise.
Yeah.
And we aren't the right person sometimes when it comes to certain situations and circumstances.
Yeah, it's all about communication and connecting with the parent. I mean, I work with so many families that are at the stage of their child is out of mainstream school because their needs have not been met. It's just a really sad, stressful, distressing time for families. And I have got clients who have had to stop work because they can't, their child's just refusing to go into school, because as wonderful as Senko's head teachers, deputy heads are, that's petrifying place for a child, a 10-year-old child who is hanging on to the gates. Their parents are leaving because they've been told, oh, he's okay when he's in. I hate that saying, he's okay when he's in, or she's okay when he's in, because it doesn't help anybody.
No.
You need to meet their needs and adapt what's going on in that school to meet that child's needs. So if you've got a child hanging off the gates, just join them. Just join, and if the parent has to go. But if the parent wants to stay, let them stay.
I know, we're going through that at the moment with my son. He literally holds onto the gates, or he runs out of the class about at least 10 times. My husband couldn't even speak to me today. I was like, what's wrong? He was like, terrible drop off.
Oh,
I can't even talk about it. That's because it's so challenging and it's so upsetting, because you feel guilty, but they have to go to school, and I don't hear during the day, which means he is enjoying himself. But why is he refusing to go in? Why is he asking every single morning, Mummy, have I got school today? Yes. No, I don't want to go to school. Why? And I know that it isn't for everybody. And I joke it with him. I said, you're 4 years old, babe. You've got 15, 16
Welcome
more
to the
years.
world.
Literally, like, you're going to have to accept it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what schools you work with. I've always seemed to work in, I don't know if this is discriminative way of saying it, but more of a challenging school. So the children may not, I'm being very mindful, they may not have the right support at home. They might not have any support. They may be foster children. They may be temporary where they are, etc., etc. So it's the way, again, everyone does their therapy, their coaching in such a different way. The thing that kind of works really well for me, and I don't know if you've ever done it before, but the ones that don't have, and again, I want people to hear this, to maybe perhaps do it with their children at home. I've got two different, same circumstance. And I say to my children, my kids, so that I work with, I am going to give you a pot with unlimited money in it. And I want you to tell me your dream holiday. And I do the same with their dream house. And the way I get into these children is I'll say, okay, who's living in the house with you? And when they tell me they only want their mum and brother there and not their dad, we've got an issue with dad. But that's all I'm saying. I'm not even speaking about dad in session one. I've made a note. We'll work on dad on another day. But that's the way I can try and knuckle things down with my children. Because as you said, you work privately with your kids and you're employed by the school. I'm also employed by schools, but I don't get a debrief. I might get a one-liner, so-and-so only lives with mum now, dad's gone away for a few years. He's a lovely guy. That's it. So I've got to work it all out by myself. And there's no feedback. The feedback is that I do a paragraph for the school. And let's be really honest, sorry schools, that paragraph isn't going anywhere.
No. Who's that helping?
That's ticking boxes, right? So it's really figuring out who these children are and what support they need. And it's tough.
Yeah, it is really tough. But what you've just said there, Sophie, about not getting a debrief about what and figuring it out for yourself, that's the wonderful thing about what we do, is that you are going to get to know this child from that child's point of view and from their experiences. And that actually is the most powerful thing about it all, is that, you know, the teacher could say, oh, they're really fidgety on the carpet. They don't listen to instructions. They are really defiant. They're this, they're that. And then you kind of start judging that child before you've even met them. I love it when nobody tells me anything about
I prefer it too.
And then you can just sit or play with them and do whatever you're doing and just get to know them. and then be a positive. That's all my mission is just to be a positive impact
Yes,
in these
exactly.
children's lives, and to be like, I remember when I saw Alice from Kind Minds and she did this, this and this. I still use that. I want them to think of it like that. Yeah.
But I also want my kids and my teens and my adults, I almost want, and again, I don't know if it's the right way, but it's my way. And again, as I said, everyone, I want them to feel like they've got a friend, not a friend that they can WhatsApp and speak to at any time of day, or when can I see you? I need to speak to you. Oh my God, this has just happened. But like, I'm going to tell Soph that next week and she's going to be so proud of me. Or I can't wait to tell her this because I listened to what she said and I did it and I feel so much better. And you praise them. And who doesn't like being praised?
Yeah.
And I feel like, as you said before, with anyone that works any sort of job, you're burnt out from the day. You then come home and parent your children.
Yep.
You're not giving them what they need.
Yep.
I think 95% of us can admit to that. We don't want to. We've got no patience. I don't want to sit on the floor and do a puzzle with my kids.
I hate puzzles.
I've got loads of washing to do.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm not cooking tonight. They're having chicken nuggets and chips. I'm not doing it. And it's just like, it's actually not fair.
Yep.
It's not fair. Like, do you want chicken and nuggets and chips every night? Actually, I think I would.
I actually really like chicken with peas.
With peas.
With peas.
Okay, good
the
to
ketchup
know.
and mayo.
Yum.
Yeah. We digress.
Do you know what I mean? We almost like, they almost are slightly neglected. And when you have SEND children, if one's got higher needs or if there's only one SEND child, you're giving them more attention. And that's what I always think with Marley. I think he's always been left behind.
Right.
Because Callie's my eldest and she's the one that's got a diagnosis. And it makes you feel terribly guilty.
Yeah.
So having that extra support, I mean, the meeting yesterday, now Marley's on the SEND register.
Right.
Tell me what a SEND register is.
Yeah, what you tell me.
No, seriously.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Senko said yesterday, okay, we're going to put Marley on the SEND register.
So the SEND register for their school?
Perhaps.
There you are then. But why did you not ask?
I felt a bit stupid to
but
ask.
you shouldn't.
I know, but I didn't actually really thought, well, is that a silly question to ask?
No.
Like,
I have been in so many meetings. I was in one recently with a child who emotional-based school avoidance. That's right, isn't it?
EBSA.
EBSA, yeah. And lots of stuff going on with him. Little boy in year 2, gorgeous little boy. And I'd done loads of work with him. He then couldn't go into school for whatever reason, whether he'd hurt someone, whatever it was. And I went into this meeting and I said to the parents, first of all, do you want me to come in? Because she was so emotional.
Yeah.
She couldn't believe that he wasn't allowed to go in because he had been unsafe or whatever it was, because her experience of him is completely different to what the teachers are experiencing of him. So I said, would you like me to come in? She was like, would you? I said, yeah, of course. So she sat and I witnessed the mum sit there as if she was sitting in the head teacher's office as a child, because you have this, when you have a child with special educational needs, you are in so many meetings that teachers and the education system use abbreviations all the time.
Textbook.
Or they say this, this, this and this. And why do we not ask?
I don't know.
Because
I think we're so incredibly
you're
overwhelmed.
just like, okay, yeah, totally overwhelmed. But also, don't abbreviate stuff. Like, just tell me what it is. What does that mean then? Marley's on the SEND register. So what does that mean for him? What are you doing then? Why? First, why are you telling me?
I thought it meant then they can get some funding for him. That's how I thought it was.
Maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe find out.
I will. I'm going to send her.
Because it's like, that's the thing I don't like about the education system. And I was like it as a teacher. Whenever I'd have parents' evening with parents, I'd be like, tell me how your child feels about coming into my class. I'll tell you what they're like in English, maths and science and what they're really good at and what they may need some help on. But they're really funny. They're really quirky. They're this, that and the other. But I'd say, oh, this is what they're doing in maths. Do you need any help with that? Do you need me to help? Because they may need some help with their multiplication. This is how I teach it. So if you want to come into my class for 10 minutes on a Thursday afternoon, I'll teach you how to do multiplication. I'll teach you how to do that. Because it's like, children are only going to thrive if they're in something, if their parent can be that role model, not only going to thrive, but with phonics, with maths, with whatever, everything changes. How we learn at school is different to how our children are learning now. So teachers need to bridge that gap of the parent and teacher, parent feeling like, not like they can talk about and ask questions.
You've so hit the nail on the head. When it comes to parents' evening, the teacher fires it all to you.
Yeah.
The teacher doesn't ask anything from you.
No.
And actually, that's really interesting because it's almost like, yes, we want to hear it and we need to know.
Yep.
But as you said, tell me how your child feels about coming into school.
Yeah.
Because as we know, children completely masked. Yeah, had a great day. Well, we would know obviously if they were really suffering in school, but it's actually, it takes two, really. It takes the mother and the teacher or the parent and the teacher to work on that individual.
Yeah, and I always say to my clients' parents or my clients, if I'm working with the parent, is just like, I know it's really hard to advocate constantly, but don't feel like you are a nuisance asking for feedback about their day.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you're a nuisance for saying, I've noticed this with, you know, my Phoebe. I've noticed she was really sad this morning. Can you please just let me know if she's all right?
How do you do that?
So
when do you email? Do you speak to them at the end of the day?
So we've got Class Dojo with my daughter's class, which is just an app that you send a message. But I will happily call the school and be like, my daughter was really sad this morning. She really didn't want to leave me. Can you please just get a message to her that mummy's thinking of her and that, is she all right? Because I'm working today and I feel awful that I've left her.
You can't work.
Yeah. So
your brain's going all over the place.
Yeah. So it's the school's duty to nurture and care for their pupils. Yeah. And they do a fantastic job.
They really
but if
do.
they're not asked to do something, they're not going to do it. So I was in parents' evening for Phoebe, my husband and I. My husband was like, how are you going to approach this one?
Oh, gosh.
So we had her report last year saying that she distracts others, that she's easily distracted. Whereas in her year one parents' evenings, it was always like, she's doing really well. She's fluency in this, in reading and blah, blah, blah. So in my head, I'm like, tick, tick, tick.
Angelic child.
She is absolutely perfect. And then when it came to her report and I was reading that she distracted others and she was distracted and she needs to focus, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Where was that communication with me? The school is fab.
Yeah.
Her school is fantastic. She's very happy there.
Yeah.
And then when I went into her first parents' evening for year 2, I went in and was like, can you tell me what you're doing to help her focus? Because I don't want her to distract others. I don't want her to be distracted.
Yeah.
So can you tell me what you're doing? And the teachers kind of looked a bit like, and they know I'm an ex-teacher and they know what I do for a living. So I kind of felt like they thought I was a bit like, but I wasn't. It's our duty as parents to say, well, what are you doing? What is it that you're doing to help my child focus? What is it that you're doing to help my child feel safe in their learning environment? And to let them know these feelings that they're feeling of anxiety or stress or anger, what are you doing to help them?
Yeah.
And a good teacher will say, I'm doing X, Y, Z, or actually, I'm a bit stuck. I don't know what to do, but I'm going to find out or who can help me.
But I would so much prefer that honesty. Then we're dealing with it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Oh, they're happy when they're in. I hate it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I hate it.
Do you do group therapy at school as well?
Yeah. So I actually run something called the Power Up Camp, which is run once a month in a gym that I hire. And the Power Up Camp is for any child that wants to come from the ages of 5 to 12. And they come and do group sessions with me. And it's all about the mind and the body connection. So they come and they do some movement, get the hormones levels going and get those endorphins. But they then do a task about their mind and mindset. So I teach them about the mind and the body connection, about their chimp brain, about what's in their control and out of their control. And then the stuff that I do at school is I run assemblies for the whole school so I can reach out to the community. And they're really fun and just, you know, talking about that positive self-talk and getting them to know that everyone has these emotions. Everyone makes mistakes, but what do we do when we make those mistakes, or what do we do when we feel like we were in flight mode or fight mode? What can we do that's in our control? And it's just great because I'm teaching and coaching the whole school and then also all the teachers.
Yeah.
So I involve them as well.
That's
and
amazing.
Get them to ask questions.
Just don't ever do 6, 7 again, okay?
No, I know, right? That's really out of order.
Terrible.
Terrible.
One thing I feel like, I don't know, again, I'm only going from my daughter's school and they are honestly amazing too. She's got so much support and it's amazing. I don't know how much a teacher, assemblies, group therapies include inclusivity. How much they're really showing that children might be different, or they may not be able to sit still, or they're not listening, or they're not answering to their name, and it's okay. It doesn't mean that they don't like you, because that's my life. Do you have any idea with that?
Yeah. So in my assemblies that I've had, I have children coming in who don't want to be there. So if they don't want to be there, then that's absolutely fine. But what I do have are loads of different sensory toys and things in front of me. And I'll just go up to them and pass them something or just give them something. But then I won't just pass that child something, because the child who is sitting and can see a child who may be dysregulated, they don't know what's going on there. So I communicate with the child and say, I've given you that, do you want one? So giving everybody something that is for everyone.
I
So
like that.
something like a sensory toy, like for squishies, like the slow release one, they're so powerful for children when they need that sensory input. Everyone needs it. Everyone needs it. So opening up that conversation of, okay, so Callie might not be able to do X, Y, Z, but you can't do this. So Callie could probably teach you something and you could teach Callie something.
Love that.
So I remember when I was a year 5 teacher for, 6 years, I had the most amazing girl in my class. I was pregnant with my first child and it freaked her out. So she was diagnosed autistic and it really freaked her out. I announced that I was pregnant and I put my scan picture on my board and everyone was like, I was a Miss Simmons back then. No, I wasn't. I was Mrs. Coombe. Mrs. Coombe's pregnant. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Are we going to get to meet the baby? Blah, blah, blah. And everyone was really excited. She sat there and was like, what? Are you going to die? How has that got in there? What's going to, and like, it just freaked her out. And I didn't take that into consideration that it would freak her out. So we had a conversation about the fact that I'm going to have a baby and it's all going to be fine. And she thought I was going to disappear forever. And then I said to her, what is it that you're worried about? And she said, well, that's the first time that everyone else has been really happy and I've been really sad. I'm usually really happy with everyone else. I was like, that's not true, babe. You can be sad or you can be freaking out when everyone else is happy. So it's just having that communication and just making
but I also believe that you have a skill and you can really connect with children, and again, not putting down every teacher. Not every teacher can have that skill, and I think that's why, unfortunately, you know how it is. Oh God, next year we've got Mrs. Diddler. She's meant to be really strict, and you've got this perception of this teacher. Well, she's not going to do well with my child, is she? And you're not going to have every single teacher of every single year that can connect to particular children. And I think that's what can become really tough. So can you just come to Callie's school and just like, no, but her teachers are amazing. I would hate to anyone to think that I didn't think that, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean, because I've worked with, from my experience of being a teacher and being in the staff room, and the staff rooms are really toxic. Sadly, they are. And from my experience, and I've worked in lots of different schools, going into a staff room and hearing teachers talk about children in the way that they talk about them is quite frankly disgusting.
About children?
Yeah, when they say, oh, so-and-so couldn't do that, we can't do this, oh, I've got so-and-so later on, or I've got to teach him doing that, that's going to be a nightmare. So you're already going into that lesson thinking that child's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, which is terrible.
Yeah.
I know we're all human and we have these mindsets and we think about it, but it is terrible. I once went to a friend's house for her birthday dinner. She cooked everyone dinner. And there was probably about 10 of us, and I was sitting at the head of the table. And you know, when everyone knows each other, but I don't, I only know the birthday girl. So it's already a bit like, I really want to go, but I have to go for her. Anyway, they all start talking and they all happen to be teachers apart from me.
Right.
And they're going, oh my God. And I had this kid the other day. He was like an animal from the zoo. We had to literally shut the door and lock him in this classroom. Oh my God, I had a similar situation with that. And she's got autism and she's this and this one's got severe ADHD. And my friend was like, guys, Soph's here. Yeah. She's got an autistic child. They felt terrible. Yeah. But we all are victims of saying how it is and what it's like without realizing how it can actually really affect someone.
Yeah. And it's I hate that.
It's awful.
I really hate, because that's why I call my business, that's why I've called it Kind Minds, because from a very young age, it's always been kindness can go a very long way. It really can. It's also free. Yeah. It's also takes a lot less energy to be kind than it does to be horrible and judgmental. And I'm not saying I am Mother Teresa and I don't judge people. I'm only human. But I hope to think that now at the age of 37, I've learned that you think before you speak. 100%. And, you know, and that's why I do what I do. And I will teach my daughters that your words, they matter, and your words can hurt people's feelings, and you can never, ever take that back.
No, you can't. So it can live with someone forever.
Yeah. And parents with children with a neurodiversity, they can sometimes feel like you've felt lonely, right?
Every day.
Feel lonely. You feel judged if you're in the supermarket and your child, even if your child is typical of them having a meltdown, like
the stairs.
Yeah, being judged. Like, don't judge me. And I'm now in the state of Daisy, I call her Crazy Daisy. She's the craziest child you've ever met in your life.
Oh, she needs to meet Marley.
She's absolutely mental. And we were in Morrison's, and she was so adamant she wanted to sit on, what's it called, the conveyor belt thing. She was so adamant. She was having the best meltdown I've ever had.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. I was there for half an hour.
Horrific.
And
Sweating.
I'm so, because I've worked on myself and my like, I don't care what people think of me now, because I'm in a space of confidence and this is who I am and this is how I'm going to parent. I just didn't let it bother me. And I had a woman, she must have been about 60, 70 years old. Oh, she's loud, isn't she? Oh, she's angry, isn't she? And I felt like, yeah, no shit. She wants to get on that conveyor belt and that woman won't let her. Can you let my child go on a conveyor belt, please?
Seriously.
She literally just
what's
wants
the
to
harm?
go. Yeah. But people will judge you no matter what you
know.
do. Whether you're a gentle parent, whether you are a strict, whatever, you've got to do whatever fits you in that minute.
Yeah.
So for you, Marley and Callie and your husband, at the minute, you've got to deal with the fact that Marley doesn't want to go into school. So for you two as parents, you've got to make sure you two are tight. That you are.
But that's the challenging bit.
Yeah. And at the minute, that's what it's like. And that's the thing that I always say, at the minute.
At the minute. No, you're right.
And in a few months' time, it may be different.
Yeah.
But you've just got to roll with it. It's what parenting is, isn't it? It's the
100%.
hardest job in the world.
But that's why I also think what we do with our social media is you're obviously sharing loads of awareness and you're giving strategies. And then with my page, I'm sharing awareness. And, you know, the example what you just said with the supermarket, I think that was the biggest post that did so well for me, that I've had so many people literally message me or come up to me and be like, I remembered your post and I saw this kid in the supermarket having an absolute meltdown. And rather than me thinking the parents are shit at parenting and that kid needs to grow the hell up, okay, there might be more to this.
Yeah.
So just smile or actually going up, ask a parent if she's okay, if she needs any help. Yeah. It will go such a long way.
Absolutely. So I'm very much like that. If I saw you having a moment, I'll be like, you all right, babe?
Yeah, same.
And you might turn to me and be like, yes, I'm fine.
Yeah, 100%.
So you've got to
Depends on the mood.
Yeah, but you've got to be prepared as I have to be prepared if not everyone wants a bit of Alice in their life.
No,
so,
but that she will remember that me.
Yeah.
I would remember, oh my God, when I've like come down from my burnout, there was a really nice woman that came up to me in the supermarket and asked if I was all right. I was probably so rude to her because I was in such a moment, but actually it goes such a long way. And I'm so that person now. I saw there was a kid at school having a meltdown, which went up to the mum, put my hand on her shoulder and said, are you okay?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Do you need any help? And she was like, thanks, I'm good. Lovely.
Yeah.
So if anything, I hope this conversation has really helped people change their perspective of the way they speak to their children.
Absolutely.
And when they see other children in public or just, I think it will really help a lot of people.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. Thank you for having me.
On.
Thanks, darling.
You're amazing.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks, babe.